I chose to speak about Your Way Begins on the Other Side by Aisha Khalid because of the strength of my first reactions to it, as well as the way my understanding increases the more I look at it and consider it. When I first encountered this piece on an excursion with my grade 10 visual arts class, I loved the element of surprise. It's not what you first think it is. At first, of course, it reads as a carpet, a woven object of craft, a functional object you see every day in homes, whereas when you simply take a moment to look at the back, you see that it is a highly conceptual artwork full of beautiful contradictions and juxtapositions. As I often say to my art students, the more you look, the more you see. If you think you've understood something, perhaps you've only seen the 10% that is on the surface. I also love, as a maker myself, how present the physical making of it is in our viewing. Once you consider that each pin was not only inserted by hand, but someone, a human being with his own hands, has dipped each pin to coat it in gold, you begin to marvel at the sheer amount of time and attention to detail that have gone into this piece. You know that it was important to coat them in gold, and you ask yourself why. As I often say to my students who ask, is this good enough? You should ask rather, is this excellent enough? The details matter, and they make your viewer feel like it is an honor to view your work. Knowing that this piece was made by hand is just as important as knowing that it is the product of a shared labor by several people. I appreciate the fact that the artist worked collectively with others to produce this work, which would have been impossible to produce alone. It reminds me of the high value of community that we don't always recognize in Western art, where the emphasis tends to be on the individual artist. This piece is named after the Rumi poem, which reads, "Your way begins at the other side. Become the sky, take an axe to the prison wall, escape. Walk out like someone suddenly born into color. Do it now." Of course, this begs the question, which side is the other? It depends what side you started on. You need to see and understand both sides in order to fully understand and experience this work. The first side most viewers see is the conventional side, which appears embroidered in an ordered design. We see the decorative face of the pins versus the other side, which shows the functional end of the pin, the end that pierces the surface of the fabric. On the back, we see the sharp, violent side. Even on the seemingly perfect heavenly garden scene on the embroidered side, you see the violence of a jungle scene where dangerous predators consume smaller, weaker animals. This is a piece of many contradictions, velvet and silk, perfect and disordered, visible and hidden, and although the two sides are very different, neither is more beautiful than the other. You have to see all parts to appreciate the whole. What is hidden behind the surface is what moves us and asks questions of us.